What is up, guys? Fadeaway82 coming at you with a weekly Rust update video. Really proud to bring you this one. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the experience system in Rust. We'll start off with the basics of it, then I'm going to go ahead and offer you guys my opinion after having played it for the past 3 weeks. And this is a sea change for Rust. Things are going to be turned a little bit upside down with this in terms of the way that players interact with items. Let's be honest, guys, blueprints weren't really all that. They were random, they took a lot of time to search for, and they were only fun immediately after a wipe. BP fragments went a step in the direction of making the system less random, but they ultimately encountered the same problem. The research table is going to be an item that is going to be out the door if it's not already, so that's a question a lot of you guys have had, so let's put that one to rest. Blueprints are absolutely gone, experience is in. Servers will have an option down the road to choose which build they want to run, and they can actually switch over to a server that's not having the experience system, although they won't get the most current updates. So what is experience and how do you gain it? Experience is essentially gained through interacting with the world, through doing anything you would do in Rust. You would gain this by hitting nodes, hitting trees, killing animals, putting down campfires, cooking food. At this point in time, it's primarily going to be based around resources and food-based items, but in the future this is going to be expanded out, and it also intersects with another system called ownership, which we'll get into in a moment. So a lot of people have had concerns about the experience system being grindy. And I'll say this about it, guys, it's actually less of a grind than the blueprint system. So the blueprint system was more of a grind because you could literally go weeks without finding the blueprint you wanted, and it was very random, very unpredictable. Whereas this system rewards you for playing the game, not for hunting for fragments or for a blueprint itself. So in some sense, this gives players more of an ability to play the game and focus less on worrying about acquiring random items or hitting a jackpot. Blueprint fragments are always like a scratch ticket, they always had that random element, and this is going to be much more predictable, and it makes more logical sense as we acquire knowledge in life over time. We don't randomly acquire it here or there necessarily. So you guys are going to notice the leveling up sounds here, the graphics. These are placeholders, these will be fine-tuned and iterated upon, so don't get too nervous about what you're seeing or hearing at this moment. This is a fully functional XP and leveling system, but it's not one that's necessarily fine-tuned. It will be iterated upon, and there will be some loopholes, there will be some exploits. The back end of this is a beautifully redesigned user interface that's going to integrate the crafting and the experience system and also skins. It's one-stop shopping. This is really elegant, and this is one of the best parts of this update, even beyond the experience system. So with this screen here, you're going to spend a lot of time in this menu because crafting is a big part of Rust, but in this menu you will also have to spend less time, if that makes sense, guys, because what that means is in here you're going to be able to do about 8 different things. Instead of navigating 8 different menus, you come to one menu here straight from your inventory screen. It also gives you the ability to search for items, so if you're curious what's coming up or how much experience you need for a particular item or even the resources you need for that item, you can find that by searching that item. So you can search metal face mask even at level 1, see when you're going to acquire that item, and also see what resources and how much experience it's going to take. This is a beautiful system, guys, and a lot of work went into this. This isn't something that was rushed out the door to us, so this is going to be a very polished, very elegant new user interface. You're also going to notice on the lower left-hand corner, there's new bars. One is for experience and one is for your overall level. And you will notice that sometimes this will gain passively, and that is due to item ownership. What is item ownership? Essentially, these are IDs that are created for each individual item. As you create items, as you harvest items, it will apply those to your character, to your unique Steam ID. Ultimately, what this serves to do is make the game less grindy. It will give you small dividends for each piece of experience from an item that you've touched your hands to, whether it's an item you've crafted or an item you've harvested. So it is very fair, and it will give you experience while you sleep. So if you've cooked food, you will gain experience while you're sleeping, while players are eating the food that you've cooked or using perhaps even down the road the resources that you've used. So this is again a system in Rust that's going to be fine-tuned. This is the first iteration of it, but it's something that really stands to shake the game up a bit. It encourages cooperation, but it also benefits players who keep all the experience for themselves. If you create a steak on a campfire, it's all your own, but if you create it on a campfire that's owned by another player, you have to share some of the experience with that player. So that is something that's going to be very much interesting in Rust because it changes up the way that players interact. It gives them a reason for interacting more with one another and less of a reason to necessarily kill on sight each other. This did shake up the way things were on the pre-release branch, so likely that'll carry over into the main game. What you guys will notice is more community outposts, more player interaction, and more encouragement, even to the point of being at gunpoint, of using your own tools and eating food, because it does give dividends to those who make the tools and the food. Item ownership is indicated by bars above the items in your inventory screen. For each item that you craft, pick up, or harvest this week in Rust, you will notice ownership tied to the item. It may be all yours if it's all green, but it might look like this if other players have had a hand in harvesting or creating the item. The ownership serves to eventually distribute experience points based off the effort players put into items, whether it's harvesting, potentially down the road building, really anything in the game could be applied to that system. So what that's going to do is essentially give you the ability to play Rust how you want to play and gain returns. A lot of people were concerned the experience system would force certain behaviors, and it's currently going to be the most grindy that it ever will be, but the focus is to take the grind out as much as possible, and that is why ownership is in the game, one of the reasons why ownership is in the game. So if you want to be a base bitch in Rust, you certainly can, and you will gain experience by cooking steaks, keeping the resources stocked, and again guys, this is going to be a system that will have some items that are going to have to be nerfed, so keep that in mind. Nothing in the experience system rewards PvP behavior, so it doesn't encourage it, but it won't change it either. The marriage between the UI and the experience system is really nice because they both have the same aim, which is to get the player out in the world interacting more freely and more often. You'll spend less time in menus, and the experience system is going to do something the BP system simply could not do, which is going to leverage the stages in the game from early to mid to late game Rust. That's not to say there won't be some tweaking and balancing that needs to be done. This is an alpha game and we are alpha testers, but overall you're going to notice that for the positive, the experience system is going to leverage out those phases of Rust, so we'll be able to be more primitive and have some fun with that for a longer period of time. And that's something Rust has always needed. In terms of rad towns and dungeons, they are going to be very viable in the future. They're going to drop items that are going to be specific for crafting other items. Think maybe a lens for a sniper scope. And currently they will be valuable because they will drop items from the loot tier, so you might luck out and get something that you couldn't get until a higher tier. Also, you're going to notice that airdrops are a heck of a lot more valuable and sought after because they'll be dropping items you can't craft right from the get-go. And down the road, this system will be iterated upon with some prestige modes. More information to come on that in the future. XP will be tied to the server you're playing on, and wipes will happen from time to time. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.